This is the review of MP-13 Masterpiece Soundwave Decepticon Communications Officer.
Hey, Steve again, and it is time to begin the Transformer reviews. I was going to start out with a WST review, but I figured what the heck. Go big or go home. So we are going to start out with Masterpiece Soundwave. Alright, so here it is, Masterpiece Soundwave MP-13 Destron Communications, because Soundwave is the Decepticon Communications Officer. Here on the bottom you can see everything that's included in there. So you get Soundwave itself, then you got Laserbeak, a case for Laserbeak, you got Soundwave's guns, the Megatron gun, Energon cube, you have like an insert plate for his chest cavity, a gun that attaches Soundwave's arm, some collectible cards, and the instructions. Of course, you got all this stuff here on the back, none of which you can read right here, but that's okay. A picture speaks 1,000 words, and there are plenty of pictures on the back. All this stuff here, you can see the inserted play here. Just put that in there, and you can read tactical readouts there on Soundwave's chest. Here he's got the Megatron gun. There he is in tape deck mode, guns, Energon cube coming out of his chest just like in the TV show. And of course, yeah, can't have Soundwave without at least one of his tapes. And here is Laserbeak perching on his shoulder. Tape mode, bird mode, able to hold 3 tapes in his chest at once. And here's Laserbeak perched on his shoulder. Alright, we'll go ahead and get this open. Okay, so we've got Soundwave out, and I figured that we will start with this tape deck mode. And here it is. This is a very, very awesome figure right here. It does have this gap right here when it is transformed into tape deck mode. I know some hardcore fans might have a problem with this being here, but with the level of articulation this thing has, the level of detail, I mean, they couldn't make a perfect cube out of it. So having this here does not really bother me, because honestly I would just be looking at it from the front. But there is a lot of really great molded detail here. Now, none of this this detail will do anything. This slide bar, which was on the original figure, does move up and down, but it does not do anything. And there is a wheel right here. It does not turn. Oh, I suppose it turns just a little bit, but honestly, it does not do anything. Really great detail here. Here's where he will be plugging into a Decepticon mainframe to download whatever information he had recorded. Here's from the front. There's this really nice record battery button. It looks like it can turn on and glow red, but it doesn't. But I thought that was a really awesome touch, that they made it look as though it actually could. You got your play button, stop, record, stop, fast forward, rewind. These buttons will not push down except for these 2 arrow buttons. These 2 arrow buttons you can push down, but they do not do anything. And of course, you got your eject button, which will pop open the tape deck. And what can you put in there? You can put up to 3 Decepticon tapes. The one that comes with them, of course, is Laserbeak, which you can just set right in there, and then goes up. And there you got Laserbeak stored inside of his chest cavity. Then to get him out, just eject and pull him out. Now, in here, there is this backing here, and it can be pushed back as needed to accommodate up to 3 tapes. Okay? So, it is now stuck back there. If you want to get it to go forward, there is this button right here, and you just push it down. Pushing it down will pop that back forward. So you can store just up to 2 tapes in there. And it does have a counting system in there, so you push it all the way back for 3 tapes, push it down once, and it pops forward a bit, push down again, and you have enough for just 1 tape. Now, this appears to work much better when it's in tape deck mode. When it's in robot mode, for some reason, it will pop all the way back forward most of the time instead of just once. But I thought that was a really nice touch there. So let's get this guy transformed back into robot mode, okay? But before we do that, why don't we go ahead and do Laserbeak. Laserbeak is interesting. He looks like he would be very simple to transform, and he is, but it is a little complicated since it is a masterpiece, and you're gonna have to be really careful with this guy because you don't want to break him. It's going to be very difficult to get your hands on another one because the only way you can get Laserbeak is by buying another Soundwave. Alright, so really nice detail on this guy. You got these Decepticon symbols right here. To begin the transformation, there is this black square right here, and inside is a tab which has his head being there. See? Now you can see it really well. You just push on that tab there, and that will begin his head popping out. Just pull that all the way forward. Then right here on the side are these rocket engines which allow him to fly. Just flip them up and over, up and over. These are his wings. We'll just start them forward like so. Then getting onto his feet. These move up. Then you just rotate the feet forward like so. And the wings, let's get this fixed. There we go. Now it's all the way together. The wings just rotate up like that, and then you have these little winglets right here on the end. These will rotate up, and there you go. And you got some articulation of the wings here. These will do move up and down. Head will swivel here on the neck, and right here here's this tiny little bitty camera that will swivel up and out of his head, like so, like you would see in the Transformers movie that came out in 1986. So he can record whatever it is he wants to, and then just it will go back down, and then he can fly off back to Soundwave and give him his report. Alright, so there we go. We have got Soundwave, Laserbeak. And just real quick to de-transform him, we'll go ahead and do that real quick because there is a little additional feature that is unique to him. Now, here is a tape case. Now, when these tape figures came out in Japan in the 80s, they had these little plastic cases like real tapes did, but when they started selling here in the US, they didn't include these. I have some of these with my figures, but that is because that I bought some older ones that came from Japan. So you just flip this open like so, place Laserbeak inside, and then close it up. And there are little spines in here that go into little tape holes to hold them securely in place. So that's a really nice feature that they went ahead and included that. And molded on here, really tiny, it says Transformers. Now, of course, if you wanted to put these figures in some real plastic cases, these are the size of mini tapes that you can probably still find in some stores that go into little recording devices, probably for like interviews and stuff, and they always come with cases. So you can get extra cases if that one breaks or you lose it. So you can get a real tape plastic case for these guys. Now, getting on to Soundwave. This guy comes in robot mode, as is evidenced with the cavity here in the plastic. So I've already transformed him for this review. But to transform him back into robot mode, here's what you do. This front section here with the controls on it, push that down. Then these you will rotate downwards. Right here, this part here will, let me get this in camera. Yeah, this will rotate back, and then just keep that there for the time being. Back here, this is a bit tricky. You'll have to untab this section here, and it is held quite securely in place by the arms. Geez, it is held very securely in place by the arms. Okay, now we're getting some progress here. What a pain in the ass. Damn it, Soundwave. Alright, we're gonna have to do things a little unorthodox here. There we go, finally. Okay. That is something you're going to have to look out for, because this part tabs into the arm quite securely. Okay, so these rotate back. They should rotate back. Here we go. Now I'm trying to be really careful with this thing and not break it, but you do have to use some force. Okay. Brother. And the bad thing is, you have to go through the same struggle here on the back as well. Wow. Okay, thanks. Okay. Next. Here, of course, are his arms. You're going to want to take his feet that are right here on the side, rotate them up. Same here on this side. These will rotate downwards. Alright. This part, we'll just put that back down there. Swivel the legs down. Then in this direction, facing them forwards. And these parts will just clip back downwards. Alright. Then the feet just rotate back up. And there you go. Now you can see how he is becoming Soundwave. On here, these pieces that are sitting right here, you move the arms this way, you'll just clip them back down, like so. This gun will come off. This one does not. So just keep that in mind. This part here will rotate backwards, and here's his head. Flip that up, close that up. Now this part here will rotate up, then around, and that creates the shoulder cannon. Alright, now this does not come off. Do not try to take it off, or you will have broken your figure, okay? This is meant to rotate like so, and then move up and down. But to transform it, you will have to swivel it all the way back around and then downwards for storage, which you can do just if you don't want to have Soundwave have his shoulder cannon. But I do. So, like so. To get his hands out, what you would do is you just open up these compartments here. Here's his hand. And swivel it out like so. Close up. There you go. Now, there is an additional gun of sorts for Soundwave. It is in this piece right here. Now this piece can be stored on him, on his back. There's a slot there, and there's a tab here, and you just insert like so, and there's this thing there for storage. But if you want Soundwave to have this little extra gun attachment, there of course are two tabs here, and there's a slot on this arm stub. You just push it on, and there you go. So Soundwave has an extra gun. Really cool. So, just take that off. Store it back here. Do the same thing to get his hand out. Alright, and there you have Soundwave. Alright. Now, before I get to the figure itself, we're going to go ahead and get the gun transformed. So, here's his gun, and it does look like a battery. Because when this thing came out originally in Japan in 1984, or even earlier, because it was Takara, this thing was actually a working tape player, so it would use batteries. But he had extra guns that could be stored in the battery compartment that looked like batteries. So here's one terminal connection here. This nub sticking out is the other side. So his batteries became his gun. But to transform this, what you do is you just pull this like so. Take this part, rotate it down and out, and that becomes the handle. This is a little tricky to get out if you don't know what to do, but there is a ridge right inside here. You just take your fingernails, if you have any, and just pull it out. And there you go. Then you've got a gun for Soundwave. But to hold that, just open up his hand, and there is a slot inside of his hand, and on this handle there are tabs. And then you just stick it in there, tab the slot in, which is a little difficult because this is brand new. Alright, there we go. Now he's holding the thing. Then just, it's a matter of closing his hand up, and then he is holding the gun. Really awesome. So, he could have like an extra gun here on this hand if he wanted to. Alright, so there's Soundwave with the gun. Let's get that out of there and get onto the articulation. Alright, so the head is not on a ball joint, it is on two separate swivel joints. So it will move like so, back and forth, and then up and down. But it is not on a swivel. I know a lot of people are going to have problems with that, but he doesn't have a whole lot of needed articulation. I mean, so he can be looking upwards, or he can be kind of looking in a downward sort of position, or just straight ahead. He can't see anything in this direction, of course, with this cannon here, but now we can. Alright, and usually these figures have like a light piping of sorts, but not so with this one. What he does is he has a clear red plastic piece in here for his eyes, and behind it is some silver, so his eyes appear to shine without any needed light piping. And honestly, I think this looks better than light piping, because with light piping, it looks really awesome when you got light shining in the right direction, but otherwise the eyes look very dark. So these will look shiny, you know, whenever or wherever it is. Alright. Now we got articulation here at the shoulders. The arms do swivel up, and they do move like so. Of course, you have this part here. Some parts help with our transformation, other parts are for the figure, but he does have excellent articulation there. The elbows are double jointed, so he doesn't just move his hand up like this for the G1 figure, but all the way up. Alright. The hands do swivel, of course. The articulation of the hands is kind of reminiscent of the Seekers, wherein you got these three fingers that are all connected together. Then you got this last finger here, but it is quite articulated, and you can pull his finger right off, which I don't suggest you do. So let me fix this. Okay. Be careful with his fingers. Alright, so he has two joints on the pointer finger here. One to move it in, and then the other for the first knuckle here. So this is like so that he can be pointing at something, or he can be pointing at something that is displayed here on his chest, if you have that chest piece connected, or he can even be ejecting one of his tape minions, like so. Bam, and then here comes all the tape guys. Alright. Now, obviously he does rotate here at the waist, as you can see that. He doesn't move like backwards or forwards. It is just a simple swivel here, which is nice because if it was more than that, he would probably break rather easily. And I like the solid feel of this guy. Alright, moving on with the legs. Now, these are on what appear to be ball joints, but they're not. They will rotate outwards, as you saw for transformation. And then forward motion is covered by these joints here, which do ratchet a bit. And then I suppose you could have them sitting down or something. And as you just saw, he does have this articulation here at the knees. These will move out like this, but only for transformation, so it looks pretty weird if he's doing that, you know? Alright, and then we get down to his feet here. And these feet do swivel out this ways for transformation, but they're not for the figure mode. They do, of course, rotate like this for added balance. Of course, again, this is for transformation, but this really does help to keep the figure secure. The feet are quite large, which is great because this is a somewhat heavy figure, somewhat blocky, so I like the added support that this will give. These are quite cold, so it is very obvious that these are made out of die-cast metal. So, you know, die-cast metal does scrape, so if you're going to be displaying this guy standing up, I mean, like have him standing on like a piece of paper or a piece of felt or something like that, because when you transform him into tape mode, these are very prominent side pieces and it will be quite noticeable if they're scratched up. Alright, so we have already talked about a lot of the stuff. There is this display here, which I did talk about before, and of course this will just clip right over his tape door. You can print out anything you want and put it behind here. You don't have to cut the pieces out of the instruction book, these ones, for his display. You can just use whatever you want, which is really nice. I thought it was going to be a sticker, but you know, the fact you can put anything in here is just really awesome. And of course, you know, you got your Energon cube, like I said before. Let's take that part off. Here you got this, just clips right over, and then, you know, you got Energon cubes that will come right out of his chest. And he can't get his arms to, actually, if you rotate them up, you can get his hands to kind of come out and be holding on to this thing, like so. But usually on the TV show, they would just come out, then float down. So, the last thing that comes with this guy is yet another Megatron gun. We've gotten this in pretty much every single Optimus Prime that came out. But, you know, here's another one. I'll just go ahead and talk about this real quick. Now, this is supposed to be a Walther P-38. You can just take off the scope, like so. You can take off the extended barrel. You can, but I'm not going to do it right now because I don't want to risk breaking this thing. And then, of course, this will come off, but again, I don't want to do it. Alright, so this handle here does slide downwards, of course, like all the other ones, so that figures with larger hands, such as Starscream or Optimus Prime, can hold on to this. But for Soundwave, you don't need it. You can actually hold that handle. So, just open up his hands, stick the gun in, close it up, and of course there goes his finger. But there you go. You have Soundwave holding on to Megatron in gun mode. Well, anyways, this is my review of the Masterpiece Soundwave. This is a really awesome figure, very solid construction. Other than the fingers that continually pop off, I have absolutely no complaints about this guy whatsoever. Now, there is something that confuses me a little bit about this. There are these clear pieces of plastic right here, and I can't get them to slide out. I can't get them to push in, and I have absolutely no clue what they're supposed to do. I mean, I've looked through this instruction book, and I cannot find anything that these clear plastic pieces in the arms will do. This just talks about putting on that gun piece here. This is about the Megatron gun. This is about the screen, Energon cube, putting in tapes, taking them out, putting in multiple tapes. And here's how to transform Laserbeak and all the stuff he can do. You can get him to sit on the shoulder, you can get him to sit on the arm. Oh, okay, alright, we finally got something here. Apparently there are some tabs, some slots here on the bottom of Soundwave's feet that will clip onto that clear plastic bit there. So you know what, let's go ahead and try that out. Alright, so here we have Laserbeak again. We'll just go ahead and rotate his arm up like so. Soundwave would be looking right there. Here is the clear plastic bit, and there is another one on this arm in case you want to have Laserbeak or a different bird sitting there. Buzzsaw will be coming out later on, so you can have two birds sitting there. And who knows, perhaps in the future there might even be like a rat bat or something. But here on his feet, you have this part here with the metal bit, and there is a slot in there. Actually, no. Just there are slots right along the feet, so you can just take one and stick it right down there, and then Laserbeak will just perch right there on his arm. I don't know if you can do it to the Megatron figure that Hasbro Takara has released. It would be interesting, but I think that Laserbeak would be probably sitting on his shoulder, which you can also do because of these ridges here, and of course here. So here you go, you can just stick Laserbeak on one of those, and Laserbeak will just perch right there on top of his shoulder, happy as can be. Alright, so anyways, that is pretty much all that I have about the Masterpiece Soundwave. He retails for about anywhere from between $85 to $210. The guy at Frankensons that I got this from, he cut me a deal and gave it to me for $190 when normally he was selling it for $200 just because I was buying so much stuff from him. So if you have the money, I suggest you pick this guy up as quickly as possible, since this is pretty much the most popular character that the Transformers brand has ever had. This guy's going to sell out. He is already gone. I'm pretty sure that just about every place has sold out Soundwave in pre-order, and you got people waiting to get one. So I would suggest that you go ahead and try to get one of these things while you can and while they're readily available, so to speak. When I wanted to get my hands on a Masterpiece Ultra Magnus, I couldn't because Hasbro Takara had stopped making them. Now, of course, I did get my hands on one of them, but I paid much more than I wanted to, and then later on they re-released Ultra Magnus for probably 30% of the price I paid someone else for it. So, I mean, they're not going to stop making Soundwave, but it might be a while before you can get your hands on one. So, like I said, if you have the money and you can find one, I suggest you get it because he is going to be quite difficult to find. Anyhow, so that is all I have for you this time in my review of Masterpiece Soundwave. This is me, signing out.